Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleone Crawford. Welcome to Resilient Minds 365, where we discuss the resilient stories of entrepreneurs, professionals, and students with mental illnesses to encourage you to strive, thrive, and live in abundance. I'm your host, Cleone Crawford. Well, guys, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We have a special guest with us today. Today, we have Zahra Adloo with us. Who is Zahra? Well, Zahra Adloo is an LMFT, is a licensed therapist, a psychedelic integration coach, and founder of Evolve Rituals, a wellness platform that blends science, soul, and systems to support lasting transformation. With a background in trauma-informed psychotherapy and a deep reverence for plant medicine, Zahra guides clients through healing journeys that help them across authenticity, creative flow, and emotional liberation. Her work bridges the worlds of inner child healing, nervous system regulation, and psychedelic integration with a focus on helping high performing individuals release perfectionism, people pleasing, and inherited family patterns. Zahra is passionate about translating complex emotional healing into practical, embodied steps, and she's not afraid to sprinkle in humor, heart, and hard truths along the way. So, with that said, I now present to you Zahra Adloo.
Hi,
So,
everyone.
how are you doing, Zahra? How's your day going so far?
I'm doing great. I had a nice hike earlier, submersed myself into nature and now I'm just sitting here and waiting to unpack the things that I've had to, learn and tell the community about what I do and how they can benefit and become more limitless.
Cool, wonderful, wonderful. So, which part of the country are you from?
So I live in Los Angeles, West Hollywood to be exact,
Mm-hmm.
the West Coast. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. All right. So tell us a bit more about your profession. Just break it down for us. How did you get started and what do you do?
So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, but I have worked predominantly with populations that suffered from addiction. And I took that experience and I went along and started to dig deeper to try to find more methods that could help the clients that I saw actually break free from their addictions. So I immersed myself in an experience with a plant medicine that is called Iboga. There's an alkaloid in it that's called ibogaine that actually helps reverse addiction in the brain, and it takes you to a pre-addictive state. Now, this plant medicine has been used in Africa, West Africa, for centuries. It's been a part of their culture, their religion, and it's actually a very exclusive plant medicine. So they really have a sacred practice around what they do with the plant medicine for their community. So exporting it out has been very limited, which has, caused us to look for ibogaine and other plant medicines, something called Wakanga africana. But it's been a practice that's been utilized to help people not just feel connected to each other. It wasn't really, seen as a plant medicine to help people with addiction. It was just a part of like connecting to a higher self and connecting to God through that plant medicine and bringing together a community of people that can witness it and grow together in their journey of what we call life. It was westernized later on and was actually like it was a mistake that it was westernized. There was a person named Howard Lautzoff who had a heroin addiction and just like wanted to do the next thing, and then found out after he did ibogaine that he'd had no more cravings for his heroin. So then he went along and did this plant medicine, like used it for his friends, cured all of them from heroin addiction. And then that was when it became westernized and, known for its plant medicine benefits for healing opioid addictions in particular. So yeah, I started with the journey of like first being the therapist, treating these people, seeing that there was a revolving door for people who are in a system that wasn't really helping them heal.
Mhm.
And I wanted to find a solution for them. And I found Ibogaine and I started working with it. I did 2 treatments myself, and now I do prep and integration work for people who are interested in diving deep and freeing their minds from OCD, addictive habits, sometimes even Parkinson's now, Lyme's disease. So it's utilized for a lot of things, mood disorders. And so, yeah, I help facilitate that process.
Amazing. That's amazing. Wow. Wow. Cool. It's
Mhm.
always good to hear about all different alternative methods, than, medication where that they can help with the healing properties. It's always really good to learn about the different methods that are out there.
Well, yeah, the medications don't work. They keep you in the system. They keep you addicted to that medication. I
Mhm.
mean, right now they use Subutex, Suboxone, methadone to help people with opiate addictions. And honestly, like they just it's a great way for the pharmaceutical industry to have patients come back and be dependent on their drug, So yeah, we're taking them off of heroin or fentanyl, but then or meth, and then we're giving them something that is legal and is fully able to fund the pharmaceutical industry. So really not giving them a solution.
Right, right, right. All right. So now that we know a little bit more about what you do, well, how long have you been doing this? How many years have you been a psychotherapist and also providing this alternative medicine?
So I've been a psychotherapist for about 5 years now. It's my second career. I used to be in IT before that. And as far as like working with this plant medicine, I would say at least 2 years now.
Okay.
I don't administer the medicine. I work with the clients with a clinic, and I work with the clients to help them understand where their journey took them to and how they can integrate new insights into their life to live a more like meaningful and positive life that's free from the things that led them to the places that they didn't want to be.
Right, right,
Mhm.
right. Okay, cool. So with that said, we are now going to take a turn in the interview, and
Yeah.
we are going to talk more about the mental health part of this interview. So with that said, my first question to you is, what is your mental health diagnosis and when were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed with body dysmorphic disorder around the age of 14. And for those who don't know what that is, it's a form of OCD where instead of you like having rituals on doorknobs or like cleanliness, it's more about picking at yourself and having perceived flaws. And so when your nervous system is really dysregulated and you grow up in an environment that was hypercritical, and very judgmental, you instead of me like internal or externalizing that obsessiveness to gain a form of control in a position where I didn't have any control, I internalized it, and it all became about how I was picking at myself and my intellect, my physical appearance. It was, if I found one flaw and once I like fix that one, it would be like lead to something else, and it was like never ending. So I had to identify what triggered me to feel that way, to pick at myself, and it was always anxiety and stress. So, being able to tune into your nervous system and being able to find tools that help calm your nervous system are like the most helpful things you can do when it comes to body dysmorphia. But I also found a lot of resolve when I did my plant medicine journey with Ibogaine. It gave me this like window of tolerance to be able to sit through things that used to stress or activate me in the past that I didn't have the capacity to sit through, and help me like be able to basically see life in a different lens and sit through the discomfort without having to pick at myself all the time. And that's been the most freeing thing to me in my mind and in my life, because it's allowed me to focus on other parts of myself that were dormant that I'd like to cultivate and help enrich and grow.
Okay.
Mm.
So tell us about your mental health story of resilience. What did you have to go through? And break down your journey for us.
You know, I I almost died. I had a plastic surgery when I was like 19 years old, and I almost died. Like I remember they were like shaking me to try to wake me up, and it was all because had this poor self-image, and I needed to fix my internal chaos with the external. And it was really like I didn't have the awareness back then. I was 19 years old. And so, I ended up attracting a partner from that same nervous system dysregulation. So I attracted someone who was also insecure externally and instead like would pick at me. So I had to go through instances with this, my partner where he would, basically like tell me not to eat and if like I addressed it, he would like make it so uncomfortable in public when I would be eating. He'd like stare at me the whole time. So he was actually making my dysmorphia even worse. And when there were times when I actually felt good about myself, because he knew that was a weakness, and because I like had attracted him at an age where I was so unaware of myself and was really in a dysregulated state, that was just what I got, and that's how I was treated. So it actually like made it worse and shut my self-esteem down. And so anything that I would accomplish, whether it was professional or through the academic system, it never felt enough. I never felt enough. I never felt like I could give myself grace or praise for the things that I've accomplished in my life. It was only the way I had to present myself on the exterior, which is so vain and superficial. But when you have a diagnosis like this, it doesn't allow you to see things differently. You do the very thing that will help you get some type of validation when you have to work on the inside to gain internal validation for yourself. With this diagnosis, you're constantly seeking external validation, and it's about picking at yourself to get that.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And what did you have to do to overcome or bounce back from your low points? Well, list all the resources that were applicable.
I had to like work on my values. I actually had to define what they were. I also had to list all my strengths. I had to look at all my accomplishments. I had to look at my relationships with people and how I showed up for them. I had to look at myself as a whole.
Mhm.
And as you get older, it actually gets so much easier, because when you're younger, you don't have a lot of you don't have the autonomy, and you don't really have a lot of self-awareness. So I just did a lot of like deep dive into reading self-awareness books. I did a lot of therapy. I also like went into hobbies that I was interested in and enriched my mind in those methods and those ways. And I started to gain more confidence from other things in life versus the things that were physically apparent. And so, yeah, I just really focused on my connection to nature, exercise, which really, really helps for people who have OCD. It helps with the stress and the anxiety. So exercise, hobbies, connections with others, therapy, plant medicine, a lot. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it sounds like
Yeah.
you definitely did a lot of work, which is really good. So definitely
Mhm.
commend you on that. My next question is, what are three things you wish you had available when you were at your lowest point?
I wish I had like the adult version of myself that talks to their inner child now.
Mhm.
I actually brought this up in a speech that I recently did, but I was home in Delaware about a few weeks ago, visiting my mother, and she brings me over like a stack of albums and yearbooks and cards. And I go through them because she did her spring cleaning. She wanted me to see which ones I wanted, which ones I didn't. And I look at my third grade class picture with, I was in a predominantly white classroom, and I looked closely at my face and I was like, what the heck is on my face? I at that point remembered that I had put like skin lightener on my skin because I, for whatever reason, had internalized the lie that being lighter was better. And so that's how back, like how dated back the dysmorphia goes, you know? And in
Mm.
that moment when I was staring at the picture, I just started talking to that 8-year-old self and I was like, I am so sorry that you had to experience the things that you've experienced, that you were somehow given this fake notion that like being lighter was better, that you weren't enough. And so I had to actually tell her like, look, you were exactly what you need to be, you know, and like look at you now, you know, you're doing great things and you're going to grow up to do great things. So I recommend for people who don't have a role model to look up to, or you know, don't have resources available to them, to just like take a picture of their old self and talk to it like they would a best friend or a child that they had. Talk to that inner child because it's still in you and it needs that healing. And so it helped me a lot.
Amazing, amazing. And so, based on what you've gone through, what words of hope would you give to our listeners? What would you tell to someone who's been in your shoes?
I would say if you truly want to discover every part of yourself, it's possible. If you really want to break free from things, from chains in your mind, the negative patterns or the loops that you have in your mind, it's possible. It's out there. You just have to do a little bit of digging. And as long as you have the awareness and the willingness to, you're going to find the solution. You know, there are a ton of people, and this is why I do this advocacy work for the plant medicine ibogaine, because there are a ton of people out there suffering in mental loops of addiction. And they think that there's no other option but them to go to a treatment center and be in this lifestyle of being in a treatment center and going to AA or NA meetings and being on medicated assistant therapy through the US system. And no, there's actually something out there that can actually break you free from addiction, whether you've been on a alcohol binge for 17 years or have been in heroin addiction for 10. If there's something that can break you free from a chemical dependence, there's something that can help you with everything. So whatever you want, whatever there is in this life that you want, as long as you believe and you think it into it, it will happen. And there's neuroscience that provides that feedback. There's a really good book called Mind Magic that talks about the manifestation of your thoughts and how like neuroscience backs that up with the reticular activation system for one point, you know, and so if you can understand that you can manifest anything in your life, no mental disorder or label of a disorder will ever hold you back from where you want to be. You just have to do the work to find the solution. And it's all out there. Now we have Chat GPT, you know, so it's even easier.
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, thank you so very much. So then now we're going to take another switch in the interview a little
Yeah.
bit. As you can see to the right of me, there are books. Which way is it? This way. This one.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Uh-huh. That one.
There's a book that's called The Music of My Life, which is basically a book about my journey with bipolar disorder and mental and music therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Question to you is about music. So,
Mm-hmm.
what type of music do you like?
I have like an eclectic mix. So I love music from all parts of the world, even if I don't understand the language.
Hmm.
I listen to French, I listen to Spanish music, I listen to Arabic, I listen to Persian, I listen to Afro beats, EDM, like country. I listen to it all, like all different types. And I mean, it just, if it's good, I appreciate it, you know, it's art. And so honestly, I can't say there's a genre that I listen to. It's everything.
Well, if you were to think of a song that best
Mhm.
describes your journey, what would it be and why?
Thrown by oh, I listen to this all the time. Oh my God, what bring me the horizon.
Bring me the
The
horizon.
horizon. Thrown by Bring Me the Horizon. It's
Oh,
basically like a rock or heavy metal song. And it just talks about how it literally it's in the lyrics. It's like throw sticks and stones at me, bruise me black and blue, but I will always rise and be on my throne. And I feel that like whenever I'm having a low day, I literally play that song. It's like my anthem, and it just charges me up and it pumps me up. And then I really like the music video for it, so I just envision myself in the music video sitting on this like big throne
Yeah,
and just like taking over the world with what I have to offer to it, you know?
amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out. So how
Yeah.
can we stay in touch with you? What are your social media handles?
So I'm mostly active on Instagram. So you can find me at ZeeShirazi, or you can feel free to email me at info at ZahraAdloo.com. I also have a website, ZahraAdloo.com. So you can check me out there, read more about me and my journey, and yeah, stay connected with me through those channels, and I'll respond.
And can you repeat that? The Instagram again, which was
Yeah, so it's
mhm,
ZeeShirazi.
Z Shiraz.
Z Shirazi. Yeah.
Shirazi. Perfect, 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 perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Zara, it's been a pleasure having you as a guest on our show.
Likewise. It's been so
Thank-
awesome. Thank you so much for doing this, for bringing more awareness to different mental health practices and helping people become more in tune with their bodies and not letting them limit themselves by their diagnosis. It's just a label, and there's so much more you can do to help yourself and like be able to enrich your experience even with everything that's going on.
Definitely, definitely. Well, thank you very much. And to all you resilient minds out there, until next time, please subscribe to us on all our platforms. And don't forget to rate the show and leave a review for us on Apple Podcasts. Also, join the community of resilient minds and sign up for our monthly newsletter at www.onlycleone.com. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, The Music of My Life, on all Amazon marketplaces to get to know me better. And if you can think of one person that will receive value from today's show, or connect with Zara's testimonial, please, please, please share it with them. Feel free to take a screenshot of this week's episode of the podcast and tag us on Instagram. You can tag myself at Only Cleone or Resilient Minds and today's guest at Z Shirazi on Instagram. And remember, mental health is not a death sentence. Despite your illness, you can strive, thrive, and live in abundance. Until next time, I'm Cleone Crawford, and I'm signing off.